got this and you got that, and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
Unmuting mics.
All right, we're gonna come to me. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. I'm here with Matt Berkey. You know, we're doing the thing. It's Friday.
Good job, Lamanna.
Thanks.
Sorry about that, team. I was handling something. I'm used to, having a few extra seconds there when Quapo throws it to me, but I was throwing to me.
Yeah, see, it's hard when you throw it to yourself.
It is. It's very difficult when you throw it to yourself, apparently. We are back with a fun show today. All Steeler talk all the time.
All day, baby.
Mike T is back. We got a lot of hopium in the building. I think we might get Jordan Love, from what I heard. The Packers are going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Heard the Mike McCarthy's actually getting fired in Dallas, despite the latest rumors that he's coming back. He's going to be our OC.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
These are all made up things that are never going to happen. But
just to troll Nikki.
Yeah, just to troll Nikki. I'm not
one
excited.
for one, love for Rudolph.
Perfect exchange. She wrote on the Rudder show, what playoff games are you excited for? The answer is like none. I'm
excited for the Texans to go into Baltimore and beat their asses.
All I care about.
Yeah, that's all I care.
All I care about
Right.
is that Baltimore loses.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
JC, baby.
outside of that, I could not give a shit less. So yeah, football's over as far as I'm concerned, and that's unfortunate. But guess what that means? That means you guys get a lot more poker talk.
A lot more.
Till pitchers and catchers report.
Yeah, in about a week or two.
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Man, when do position players go? Early March?
Oh no. In
way earlier?
In February sometime.
I thought pitchers and catchers were February.
But I think pitchers and catchers are like right at the beginning of February, and then a couple weeks in.
Just a couple
February.
week difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been I've been training with TJ at the gym. I guess he's mostly right field now for the Reds.
For the Reds, yeah.
He was a center fielder at one point, but I think they moved him to right field.
He is a good player.
He's very good. And it's so funny. Like, this is an elite athlete who plays professional baseball, the thing that I've dreamt my entire life of for a living. And like when we train, he trains like a baseball player, as he should.
Right. And
he like jokes because like our weight differential is so much. He's like $175.
Yeah.
And just a ball of speed. I mean, like everything he does is just so agile and fluid and athletic. And I'm sitting there like an old man, just like ripping up like 105-pound dumbbells on bench. And he's like, God, like, you're so big, blah, blah, blah. Dude, shut up. I've trained you in a heartbeat. When you're a dirty old man like me and you got nothing left but to go to the gym in the morning and convince yourself that it's actually doing something for you, you'll be putting up 105s too, my friend. But for now, go hit that baseball and take it easy on the Bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
He was telling me that, what's the rookie that they got? Cruz, yeah.
We have a Cruz and they have a Cruz.
I was just about to say, wait, I thought ours was Cruz.
Very similar young stars, up-and-coming stars. They both are five-tool guys, tall, lanky, very, very good.
They're fun
in
to
everything
watch.
they do, yeah. They both play shortstop. So everyone's comparing the two, and we're going to see how their careers pan out. But, they got we'll see. I'm excited to see a full year of O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates. He kind of got robbed of it last year when he broke his ankle, but he's back and ready to go. Yeah,
he said he's one of the sickest talents he's ever seen. He just has no idea how that's going to translate because, when you have natural talent like that, it doesn't always correlate into getting the X's and O's down. But young division, a lot of youth there. Should be interesting to watch. We have a lot to cover with poker today. We are going to do a little bit of fun stuff towards the end. Nikki sent us a couple Reddit posts that we're going to look at. One is a winner's tilt post. Another one is please don't turn into an asshat to obvious new players. So these will be kind of two fun discussions that I think are very relevant to the stakes that most of you all play. Prior to that, we're going to have an In the Muck segment from the most recent academy where I was very, very sure both players were in the muck. We're a little less certain now.
Might be a plot twist.
We're a little less certain. Stay tuned for the plot twist. But before all of that, there was a response from ACR. So I want to give you guys a little bit of follow-up to what has been happening since we had the panel with Pads, Matt Marinelli, Rob Kuhn, and Chris George, as well as John Andreas. Since that panel, Pads still has not played a Sunday. And, I think this is something that may just casually be overlooked. This is Never Miss a Sunday guy for the better part of however long he's been running that hashtag. But I'm sure he was like never missing Sundays prior to the hashtag. That's what spawned it. I think people in the community should really take note when somebody as statured as Pads decides to just very quietly stop playing on the sites that he's been trusting for the better part of a decade. And I'm sure that those who have watched the panel, those who listen to what he has to say, and those that are paying attention to the fact that he actually is not grinding any longer, maybe are pausing for concern. But this follow-up from ACR, it doesn't give me a lot more hope. I wouldn't expect to see Pads out there this Sunday either after this follow-up.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear like what your overview was having read it. But let me just give the audience a quick rundown of what they're offering us here. So, response to recent security concerns. This is as of yesterday, January 17th. WPN takes game security and integrity very seriously. Yada yada yada. This is all fluff. Players have recently expressed concern over a group of accounts playing over the course of the past 12 months. I believe it actually dated back like 3 to 5 years, but nevertheless, here we are. These accounts have all been through rigorous set of security protocols through natural course of business. Basically, just kind of giving us lip service, saying like, trust our security team. Given the serious nature of the accusations against these specific accounts, we have undergone an additional review. So up until this point, they don't really say anything. They're basically just saying like, look, security's on it. We're going to take a look internally and then, double back to you guys and see what's going on. So this is the follow-up to that, I guess. As a result of standard protocols, the majority of the identified accounts had previously been prohibited from playing on the site and have not been active since the protocols were enforced. Now, a timeline here would be nice.
Right.
When were these protocols enforced? Because to my knowledge, and anybody out there who's a little bit more privy than me, feel free to correct me, but Tyler, the original whistleblower on 2+2, had been collecting this data for quite some time. And there were other accounts that had gone through and relegated which of these accounts were still active, which of these accounts have gone dormant, at what point they had gone dormant. All the main information that both ACR and the community would need in order to kind of have an idea of how this bot ring was orchestrating its theft, for lack of a better word. Several dozen of the publicly identified accounts passed the screening, which include hundreds of hours of video recordings of play that we insisted be performed to assure that the account was legitimate. Given the continued concerns expressed by members of our player community, out of an abundance of caution, we have decided to suspend each of these accounts and put those accounts through additional scrutiny before they are permitted to play. Now, from my perspective here, that sounds positive, but it's also very unclear to me how many of the total, I don't remember how many total accounts there were. I think it was like just shy of 100, or maybe it was just shy of 300. My memory doesn't really serve. But anyway, of those total accounts, whatever percentage were active, how many of them are currently being suspended? Right. There's no harm in releasing this info,
right?
To my knowledge, right? This doesn't hurt security at all. If they say, look, you guys gave us a list of X number of players. Of that list, Y percentage of them were completely inactive and had already been busted through our previous protocols. Z percentage were still currently active, and of the currently active ones, we are now banning this many.
Right, yeah.
Why not just go that route? I'm very uncertain for the lack of clarity, other than covering one's ass.
Right, yeah. Maybe the percentage is pretty low. I'm speculating. Obviously, I don't know, but yeah, the whole release was a little vague.
Yeah, I'll continue through, but what is your, as like an outsider who doesn't really play online, but is just like, kind of hearing this press release secondhandedly, what's your general takeaway as far as what points are being conveyed here?
Yeah.
Because like you're the audience in this instance.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like I've noticed that like some of the bullet points, they said now they're asking for documentation, and so does that mean KYC? What does that entail? Right? Because they want to, I guess they're saying like, hey, we're gonna do things to show that people are actually real and not bots, right? They're gonna like have them screen record, and they're going to watch them play. They're gonna evaluate their play. They're going to have them release documentation to show that they're real. But it's kind of like, I don't know to what extent they're doing all this stuff, and
right.
how much of that is actually going to change.
Feels a lot like politics, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
It feels a lot like
right. When you look at the overview of the entire player pool, like how much is it going to capture?
Yeah, feels quite a bit to me like a changing of the guard in political office. Red goes blue.
We're going to come in and clean this place up.
Yeah, we're going to drain the swamp. But like there's nothing specific ever really stated, and we as the public just tend to feel like nothing ever gets done. So you kind of alluded to some things here that they addressed, but not all that specifically. They said, in accordance with our policies and where such determinations can be made, we will refund players where we have identified bad actors negatively impacting other players. Now, this is like really clear legal speak, where they are purposefully vague, saying where such determinations can be made, we will refund players. So basically, like if we have hard-clad proof that you were cheated, we're going to send you some sort of refund.
And that's just
here.
Like, that's very, very hard to go back through and know exactly how many dollars you actually were cheated out of and then refund these people. Like,
well, whether it's hard or not, we don't get to audit it.
Right.
So no one has any fucking clue. All we know is the evidence that we've presented.
Right.
And the community is pretty damn determined to either see some receipts or continue to believe that the information that is public is true, which means that there are hundreds of bots that have stolen upwards of $10 million. So the onus is now on ACR to prove that's not the case, to show some level of receipts to their consumer base,
right,
and say like, actually only X percent of that 10 million was won nefariously by bot rings. It was these specific accounts, or maybe not even specific, but like this percentage of the list was actually bots, whatever. I just feel like so far this is a pretty insufficient response. They said, as part of that commitment, we consistently review our security protocols and make changes and improvements based on feedback, players' behavior, and as a result of our continual investigations into suspicious play. Our current security protocols include mandatory player documentation updates, which implies that there's already a KYC in place.
Right.
I don't know that to be true. Maybe things have changed. I haven't played on ACR really ever, but certainly not in years.
Yeah. What does the documentation entail? I mean, documentation can be a bunch of different things. Is it, is it two forms of identification? Is it showing your, like a screenshot of yourself with your your ID? Certain things that you have to do to get on like a crypto exchange
site,
or something like that.
Yeah. It goes on to say CAPTCHA technology and table pixelation changes. I know that they're really high on this, but everything that I've heard from people who were a part of the bot challenge had no problems skirting this.
What is that exactly?
My understanding is that it is the CAPTCHA pops up like every I think it's random, but it pops up like different points throughout your session, and it needs to be filled in to prove that you're human. So it's like the click the stop sign type thing. But from my understanding, bots are getting good enough now where they like through the use of AI, things like ChatGPT, maybe not ChatGPT, but like algorithms similar to that,
right?
They're able to skirt the CAPTCHA. At least that's what the original during the bot challenge, the Range Trainer Pro dev, I think he was saying something about easily being able to get around the CAPTCHA.
So you're saying as you're playing, randomly something
They'll
will
just pop up and say like, "Are you human?"
Yeah, and you have to click on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to click on like whatever
Right. Yeah.
they're asking you to identify. And I guess there's like something about the pixelation within the tables that makes it difficult to screen scrape. But again, I believe I was reading, I can't remember. I don't want to put everything on Range Trainer Dev because I don't know that he was outing everything, but I believe somebody was saying that this is also pretty easy to skirt because a lot of the bots now don't actually need to scrape the screen to get the data. There's some other methodology that they're utilizing. I'm not sure what that is, but apparently, they're not as protected from screen scraping as they once thought that they were, or they once actually were. And this is probably clear from the amount of mass data that's out there for resale as well. Going back to what else they have in place, software that renders bots who use live data collection such as PPL or OpenPPL ineffective. Again, it's like, I don't know how to take this because it's like, I would like somebody to go, I know that we don't want to see another 100K challenge for botting or whatever, but I would like to see somebody who's sharp at this stuff stress test. Like it would be, somebody would be willing to get their account banned to do it and be the martyr. But I feel like there's somebody out there who's sharp enough that can go through these security protocols at a cursory level, because they're obviously not providing details, and just say like, okay, well, I'm going to challenge all of these things. Let me see if I can build a bot that can skirt the CAPTCHA technology, the table pixelation, the software that renders live data collection useless. Like, let me see what I can do, kind of thing. I would guess if I were a betting man, I would wager more on the side of the cheats than the security team. And that isn't necessarily a slight against ACR security. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I just know that they, as well as all other sites, have a pretty big uphill battle. So I'm not letting them off the hook by any stretch, but I do recognize that this isn't as simple as like, oh, we'll just do X, Y, and Z, and then your site will be far more secure. It goes on to say video recorded sessions of players for pattern evaluation, deep dives of hand and play history across all our games. I'd be interested to know what those deep dives entail. Is this a human analyzing it, or are we running it through something like GTO Wizard to see how close to optimal they're playing? A recent banning of virtual and remote access machines, introduction of features such as PLO reshuffle, recent partnerships with GTO Wizard to enhance GTO analysis protocols and detection, as well as investment in tools that improve data analysis and detection capabilities. As a result of these recent concerns, we're undergoing a full review of the current protocols and expect to make additional changes and enhancement to our security measures and increase already significant investment in security and game integrity. We hope players will continue to trust us with play as they have for more than 20 years and take comfort in the knowledge that protecting the game is one of our most important activities. Okay. I think we unpacked a lot of this as we went, but there's a lot to be said here for what's not being said, I think. And from my perspective, and I imagine that the community shares this to some regard, we're in a situation here where the operators can't be transparent with what it is that they're doing.
Right.
And we can't trust them until we have something that can demonstrate a receipt, right? Also, there's a lot of quote-unquote negative receipts working against them right now. The community collected all of this data over some period of time. They've arrived at some certain conclusion that now falls on ACR to disprove. You can't disprove it by saying, like, we looked into it, what you guys are claiming is only partially true, and therefore we're going to give you a partial refund. That's not good enough because you're heavily incentivized to A, not refund anybody, and B, to ensure that the public believes your security to be on the up and up. So it doesn't benefit ACR by any stretch to come out and be like, you guys were right. Like, you guys were right. We owe you $10 million. We're going to pay it back in installments. Shout out to all the regs out there. You guys are about to get a check, Moreover, along the negative receipt side, there were, hundreds of accounts that were accused, 35 of which were concentrated to like Kazakhstan and Latvia, and basically mimicked each other's play style to a degree where like the community was kind of like, this is suspect. What the fuck's going on here? Not one person that was on that list has come out and said, I'm botter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm fucking innocent.
Right.
Not one person.
No.
These are all huge winners on this online site, right? And one thing that we know about the big winners online is that they rarely are capable of remaining anonymous for long periods of time.
Of course.
All of these accounts have managed to remain anonymous, both prior to the accusation as well as throughout the entire accusation. And that kind of stinks, right? Something about that just doesn't sit well with me. Something about that implies that someone inside knows more than we do as the public. And I don't know to what degree anything nefarious is happening, or like, I don't know to what degree they maybe found evidence to the contrary of what the statement says. I don't know any of that stuff because they can't share it with us, which is, we all understand that, right? What we don't understand is, why isn't there one trusted individual that you can share it with, right?
Right.
Not Guru, not like one of these no offense, I like Rob, I like Ebony, I like DePaula, I like the team, but they're hired PR stuntmen, like, no offense, but like, as a community, we don't trust you at your word, right? And that's not saying that your word is untrustable or that there's anything wrong with it. It's just there's conflicting interests. Why isn't there a single third-party auditor that's really fucking sharp on this stuff, right?
Who could that be? Do we know?
I mean, I know that Pads kind of suggested Ike a few times. Oh, hold on, man. My stream deck's fucked. He mentioned Ike as like an example, and I think that that's the right type of person, right?
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, Ike's not going to do it. He has no incentive to. Maybe he would. I don't know. Maybe they could pay him enough. I don't know. And I got to tell you right now, it would be worth it. Like, I don't know what a third-party operator would charge to do this job,
but it's worth it.
But like, it's worth it. If it's 7 figures, it's probably worth it because there's a good chance that you're just going to see traffic plummet.
Yeah. If
stables lose confidence in their ability to put their horses in ACR events or cash. And, GG is kind of in the exact same positioning right now. Like, no one's really going to know what they can and can't do comfortably, trusted, when these sites are just kind of like waiting for everything to just blow over, right? They're all waiting for it to blow over. We're waiting for the shoe to drop, where we just like feel like we're right on the cusp of some major scandal breaking and finding out that, 20% of the pools that you're playing against are just like botted.
Oh my God.
Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a short list of people in this industry that are highly respected, highly trusted, and we don't believe could ever be bought for any amount. Guys like Ike, guys like Gelfond, guys like Kuhn to some degree, even though he's affiliated with GG already. Like, we just need somebody with high integrity that the community across the board trusts to willingly go into these sites and be a third-party auditor, right? Make them sign an NDA, make them do all the things that prevent them from being a threat to you moving forward. But what can't continue to happen is this fear that if the secret sauce, quote unquote, of security ever gets out, they're going to be inundated with attacks. Because from our perspective, you already are.
Yeah.
Right? From our perspective, these sites are just heavily, heavily compromised. And when someone like Pads stops playing, this has been his living for 15 years.
Right.
He's reached the pinnacle. He's grinded his way through micros all the way to nosebleeds. And he just one day woke up and said, I won't do it anymore until my money feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that everyone in the community that's considering playing online in any capacity should take heavy note of. Because that is a huge vote against the safety and security of these sites. And I don't want to sound doom and gloom because like a lot of the messaging of that panel was this is fixable. There's a course correction that can take place for online poker where we can all flourish again. And right now the interest level is incredibly high. So the motivation for these sites to get it right should also be incredibly high. But I don't know how you increase consumer confidence if there isn't some sort of go-between when it comes to the operators and the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that third party looks like. You know, I joked and said like we should make that circle of trust and like just be a third party operator, like let that be the business. But in lieu of that, sites need to solve this because I appreciate ACR addressing this. I appreciate them getting out in front of things, and I appreciate the fact that they're taking everything seriously. But this statement is so tone deaf. It's just riddled with a lack of like specifics. It's very vague and general. Why aren't you telling us how much of the 10 million was actually stolen? Right? How much of refunds can we expect back? And if you don't have those numbers yet, then don't put this statement out yet. It's kind of that simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't want more to hold us over. And I get why
that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they're like, we have to get something out.
Right.
So here's all the things we're doing. And then later on down the road, we'll give you more. But will they? I don't know.
Right. Because it can just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If enough people take this statement at face value and they just go, okay, well, you know, it's a major site. Nothing's going on. I'm just going to keep playing.
Yeah.
And there
will be people that do that.
Yeah. Well, especially Venom's coming up now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are going to flood to the site. They're going to play this major.
Yeah.
I think this is an opportunity, and I don't want to be the one to champion this because, again, online is not my arena. I'm not the person to tell people what to do with their money when they're gambling or where to play. I feel a lot more confident in giving that advice when it comes to live. You know, specifying what types of games are good, what kind of games are on the up and up, what ones you should avoid, and things of that nature. But with Venom coming up, for those of you out there who are in a power position, the stable leaders, the high stakes grinders, the guys that are influencing a lot of the MTT pool, it's a good time to talk with your wallet. If you don't like this statement and you don't feel that they've provided enough information or put you in a position to feel confident about both keeping your money on ACR as well as continuing to give them business, I think it's a good time to watch the Venom overlay by six figures.
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of thing. I'm not sure what the guarantee is. It's been large in the past. Let me check real quick and see if I can find one. They've gone as big as 10 million before.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it was 10 million and then all of a sudden, like they miss it by 1 million, that's, you know,
right.
That hurts. And then if that's the case, then, it's gonna force their hand to do more. That's the whole goal of this.
All right, I'm not sure how accurate this webpage is that I found, but if this is up to date, then it looks as though I was a little bit off on the dates.
Okay.
And it appears that the Venom is a 10 million guarantee. But the next one is going to be July 20th. I feel like this isn't accurate, though. I feel like there's almost always one.
Is there a date on that article?
No. Sadly, there isn't. It says copyright 2024, so maybe it is accurate. Which honestly like would make a lot of sense because I wouldn't want to run a major right now.
No.
It just seems really scary to do such a thing while the consumer confidence is relatively low. Okay, here we go. So it looks like there is stuff. Oh, this is just day by day. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, enough putting their tournament schedule on display. Yeah, I guess my whole point here is that I find this to be a very inadequate statement, and like it's not my arena, right? I don't care all that much. I do care that the health of online poker is safe. I care that people aren't getting, fucked over for their dollar more than they already would be if they were a losing player. I care that, we can look in and market poker as a safe environment, a safe competitive environment. And I do care that I think online matters a lot to the overall health and growth of the game. But I don't care about the minor stuff, like the nuance, right? It's not mine to cradle and care about. So it's one of those things where, like, look, play, don't play, I don't know, but pay very close attention to what these companies are saying.
Yeah, I think that's the main point, right? It's like look at the overarching thing that's happening in front of you, and look at their statement, and then you ultimately have to decide as a consumer, as a player, if you feel safe, if you think that this is on the up and up, and you can play, on a level playing ground.
Right. And I don't suspect this will be the last we hear of it.
No, of course not.
Whether it's, getting more information about this potential bot ring on ACR or other forms of cheating that possibly make their way into the public eye, regardless of what we're talking about as far as like bad behavior goes, I guess. I think that until again, we spoke ad nauseum in the panel, but until we have some level of clear transparency between us and the operators, we're just going to keep hearing these stories. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and move into an in the muck segment. We got a fun one planned for you guys today. All right. Whoops.
Yes.
God damn it, Nikki. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
That's right.
If you haven't already. For all the audio listeners out there, it really helps the channel grow.
It really does.
Maybe make your way over to YouTube. Also, don't forget to join the membership so we can get some more emotes out there.
That's right.
We got to get a just pay emote.
We definitely need a just pay emote.
Definitely need a just pay emote.
So we got an In the Muck Academy edition.
We do. We do indeed. I am trying to find the timestamp here. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, we're gonna give you some footage straight from the academy this time.
133.10, you say?
130. It's 131.35.
Oh, okay, that's way different.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it, shall we?
Let's do it. Take a look at this hand coming up here in a very brief moment.
Jesus. All right. So what we have here is we have a open under the gun 1, a 3-bet from the hijack, and then Donna in the big blind has pocket jacks and a cold 4-bet candidate. She elects to go for it here. Tom's going to get out of the way with ace queen off. And Matt has a decision about 160 big blinds effective, whether or not to 5-bet or call. I think he would mostly just 5-bet jam ace king off. You kind of just want to run it and put her in the cage when she has hands like this. But now we see a flop of 10 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 3 of hearts. She has the jack of hearts, jack of spades, and elects to bet third pot. Matt has ace of clubs, king of diamonds, and elects to call. I realize now, am I talking over this? No, good, I have it muted. Great.
Yeah.
Turn 8 of diamonds. SPR is now 1.5. Donna checks. And Matt is, he's feeling it. He goes for it.
Just jams it all in.
The way he put his chips in and then stared at her, I would have fucking snapped, man. I would have snapped that bet so fast. I can't really put into words how quickly I would have snapped that off. Donna's in the cage a little bit. She does go into the tank. it's kind of a big shove. She obviously has better. She has, jacks with a diamond, queens, kings, aces, top set of tens, or tens full, I guess. But yeah, it's like 1,200 into 750-ish, 1,235 into 750, so like 140% pot. She's ultimately going to arrive at a fold here, which I said was not good. Now, if you saw Hunt's reaction there, I think he was kind of just like, yeah, that's a tough one. And in real time, I was like, well, is it? I mean,
yeah.
What hand is really jamming here that isn't ace king with a diamond? Like, in my head, people just aren't really jamming overpairs there. And they're certainly not jamming tens full very often. At least I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
What would you do if this were a hand played at the Jewel?
Just pay.
Yeah? Would you?
I honestly, it would probably depend on the player profile.
Okay.
Right? Because, like, there's some people that I would probably snap, and there's some people that I would be like, oh, God. Like, it just
okay.
They just
That's kind
it,
of
right?
kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
What type of profile would you lean on snapping?
The more aggressive type, the people that I know like to play their draws fast, that like to
What if it were Matt?
Hunt?
No,
this
in the hand.
Oh, yes.
Matt Hagen.
Yeah, call.
You would call? Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed like the type to really want to be mixing it up a little bit in there. He's looking for his spots. So
for me, it was it was just the mannerisms, like the authoritative, like grab all the chips,
right,
smash them in, and then like dead stare. If I were close, if I were like on the fence, I think that would have been enough to make me call.
Yeah.
Now we already looked up the spot. I shouldn't have spoiled it for you, but if you had to guess, not knowing what you know now, what do you think her hand is supposed to do in theory?
I would think it would be call.
Yeah, so my thought process was very similar. I would have thought that like she's just not supposed to face a jam here really ever. So if she does, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Like in my mind, it'd be like, okay, if they had aces or kings, like they might just get it in pre, and so like queens, and if they have a flush, they're probably not just jamming it, right? If they have tens full, they're not just jamming,
right?
Because like I don't know, people don't play that way. They want to get value for their hands, and
there's also like maybe two flushes, three at most.
Right.
Ace jack, ace queen, ace king, maybe.
Right, exactly. So there's not a lot. So it feels like it's the hand that we're staring at, right? It feels like overs, like ace king with a diamond.
That's certainly what it felt like to me, Brian. I gotta tell you.
Yeah. I mean, we could see the hand, which made it easier, but that's what it like when you're in that moment and you see someone do something like that. You feel like you're just gonna see that hand a lot.
I'm not a man to fold that much equity versus a hand that I'm beating. But I think
it feels like if they don't have queens specifically, you're just winning.
Yeah, I guess like so that's the thing, right? There's two angles to being in the muck here. First is Donna's angle, where she's pretty much at the bottom of her value range when she cold four bets.
Right.
She might have. Yeah, she probably never has like nines, really. I don't think. She might have like a little bit of ace 10 suited. I gave her that as a bluff. It's a part of a theoretical range, but
most people don't find the cold.
Yeah, I mean, like let's be clear.
Suited.
Everybody here was like solidifying their preflop strategy on the go over the last 3 days. So like, are you gonna find the 12% cold four with ace 10 suited? Probably not.
No.
So probably no 10x. Probably no flushes except ace king. Sometimes people overplay ace queen suited, I think, but it's a pure fold in that spot. I did give her a little bit of ace queen because I think that's more likely than ace 10. So yeah, it's like you maybe have ace queen of diamonds, or sorry, ace king of diamonds for a flush, maybe low frequency ace queen. So you don't have a lot of that. You just basically you're concentrated to overpairs, and then maybe a sliver of tens full. Maybe you cold four tens, I don't know, 15-20% of the time. So basically you just have overpairs and they rank as linear as possible, where it's aces to jacks and then you have with and without diamonds, right? Obviously having diamonds are nice because sometimes actually I don't know that it is. The solver prefers that you have a diamond, and I guess the idea behind it is if you have jacks or queen with the diamond, you can still suck out on aces or kings without one.
Right.
But outside of that, having like the jack of diamonds, not too relevant if he doesn't have ace jack of diamonds very often.
Mm-hmm.
Having the queen of diamonds may be a little bit more relevant because he probably doesn't fold ace queen suited. And then having like kings with the king of diamonds is obviously really nice because he might not ever have a flush here, and now we only lose to like just aces.
Yeah.
But my thought process here would just be like, okay, I don't think value really wants to jam here. Like if we're building our strategies around value, which is something we should be considering, then I don't really think jams are going to play here. And if I'm wrong, what am I actually going to be wrong against? Like what's the best hand he could jam? It's probably just like queens no diamond. So it's like, okay, he's maybe jamming like 3 combos out of the entirety of his range that I think the rest of his range would play differently. So I would just lean on calling in Donna's spot and just feeling like gross about it. I will say that like she played the hand perfectly up until the decision to call or fold. And I'm not even saying she played it wrong. I'm just saying that like the flop C bet is good. Her sizing is a little bit small, but like whatever. And then the realization that you're supposed to check the turn there is actually also really good as well. Now, from Matt's perspective, you have ace king with the king of diamonds. Like, I would be more inclined to raise flop, I think, and try to play an all-in pot. Try to have some sort of bluff frequency with my raises because I want to raise aces and kings here a lot, and that's what I'm building my strategy around. So taking the hand that complements that, I think I want to raise here a lot as well. But I understand the desire to call. You want to realize your equity. You don't want to get jammed on.
What do aces and kings like to do pre-flop against a cold 4 like that? Are they flatten a lot? Like aces just flats? Because
aces flats a lot.
Yeah, maybe kings gets it in because of the ace factor coming on the flop.
I can tell you pretty quickly what happens here.
It seems like aces doesn't want to just rip it in because just get a lot of folds from inferior hands.
Yeah, so here's the preflop at equilibrium for 200 NL with rake. And you can see that under the gun 2 or hijack in this instance, whatever, it traps aces about half the time and it calls with kings about half the time as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I would imagine the calling with kings is both a byproduct of protecting range as well as not wanting to allow the big blind to only have aces. But this is also a range that's built off of 200 big blinds, and they're only 150 effective. Okay. So if we look at 100 big blind ranges, kings is just like probably pure jam. Yeah. And I gave him 50% ace king off, but it actually is just a pure 5-bet.
Okay.
So it's just a pure 5-bet jam, even at 200.
Ace king suit is probably going to almost always call.
It's almost a pure call.
Yeah.
So 80% call. And then same thing with like queens and jacks. Like these hands just can't ever really play for stacks. So all that makes a lot of sense to me. If we look at Donna's range, we can see it's really, really tight and quite linear. So I actually increased the likelihood of her having queens, ace king off, jacks and tens. Queens was like 50% frequency. Jacks was like 12. Tens was like 10.
So you're only supposed to cold 4 jacks.
Jacks and tens were like super low frequency.
Low frequency, yeah.
And then ace king off was like very low as well because it I think it jams and folds at a reasonable frequency. But I just gave it 100% because I just think like most players are going to play like 4-bet non all in. And then like a little sprinkle, a little speckle, if you will.
Maybe an ace 5 in there.
Yeah, a little speckle of bluffs. These I just left in from theory. So this is actually what the range wants to do. Now, when we take a look at this in the Wizard, what we'll find is that so you can see it actually just wants the 3E, which is B47. So it's trying to play a geo size so they can play 3 streets because the ranges are so narrow and condensed to value. It wants to be able to be all in by the river with its overpairs, but it also recognizes that the target it's shooting at is very small. So instead of 2Eing, which would make it such that in position starts to get to fold some stronger hands, like queens without a diamond probably become indifferent versus the turn jam if you 2E flop.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or at least it would become close. I'm not sure. Ace King, no diamond for sure would just like have no tough decisions versus 2E. But versus 3E, it kind of gets into a weird spot because it has to defend some of the time. So anyway,
Is that because like the board's paired and
not just because the board's paired, but also just due to the lack of combinations in either range.
Okay, yeah.
Right,
The ranges are just so narrow at this point that you don't
I mean,
need to just.
When we're talking about sizings, it's both a byproduct of the board, but also a byproduct of the ranges. And what I mean by that is that when there are very few hands in either range, you have to lay a price to the bottom.
Yeah, right.
Right? Even if the bottom's really strong, it's all relative. The bottom's only really strong relative to the board texture, not relative to the other range.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So like for instance, in position is going to have hands like 9s and 8s because they're going to 3-bet at some frequency and then call. That's stone bottom, and this is a very favorable board for 9s or 8s. But if you're facing pot, you just kind of have a really annoying fold, right? And I'm not sure 3E would be pot. Or sorry, 2E would be pot. I think GO2 in this instance, where you're betting the same size over 2 streets to be all in, it looks like...
You have me on the screen, by the way.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It looks like SPR here is 3. So geo-sizing for a 2-street all-in strategy would be like 75%.
Okay.
And like 8s is just going to hate life. It's just going to fold a lot. Always going to fold without a diamond. Probably mostly fold with a diamond. Same thing with 9s. Same thing with Ace King. Every time it doesn't have a diamond, it's just going to fold. That type of stuff, right? Inability to realize equity, the inability to have enough equity versus a really tight range betting this size is going to lead to just a lot of conservative play. And so I'm not surprised to see the geometric sizing used. I'm not surprised to see that it's GO3 instead of GO2. And Donna was along the right page. She went for a third pot, which is a little bit smaller than Geo, but like she understands kind of the equity threshold here of like, I need to lay a price to the bottom of range. So continuing with her small size, we can see that Matt will play some raises in position. It's exactly what I suspected. It's going to be like Ace King with a diamond, aces, kings, and that's kind of it. Whatever small amounts of
his raising size is what?
Very small. It's third pot.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Makes sense.
You're basically just trying to set up a GO2 strategy thereafter. And you also like want to still be able to have folds when you get jammed on. So like this didn't happen, but if we play raise and she jams, I imagine Ace King starts to fold. Yep. So yeah, now Ace King becomes a pure fold. It mixes when it has the Ace of Diamonds, but otherwise like just it's out. Aces and Kings obviously are in. And the strategy is like just really, really, really simple at that point. So even though Matt doesn't want to turn the King of Diamonds into a bluff here for fear that he'll get jammed on, it's really fucking good to, having that in position raise really makes you difficult to play with or play against, especially when you catch Donna at the bottom. Because now she has Jacks, no diamond.
Makes it easy just when a diamond rips off on the turn for you to just
now you can be all in for 80%.
Right.
Like pretty easily.
Yeah.
Let's actually analyze that. When he plays raise, she actually is just supposed to start folding without a diamond. So Jacks, no diamond, like it mixes, but it's like 10% call. Right. So he's already put that sort of hand in the cage.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You cold 4-bet, you get called, and now you bet
and get raised.
And on a 10-3-3, right? And you get raised. Yeah, you're in hell.
Yeah,
that's why you don't just pay.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like that's a
different situation.
This is what it looks like when ranges converge, right? People are of the impression that everybody is just absolutely nutted. So like you see bet that board and get raised. It's like, oh, he just has aces or kings.
In that situation, he does.
Well, yeah, it's a big chunk, but he should also have ace king, right? Like that's what a good player would have. The interesting thing is to pocket jacks, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're bluffing or you're not. You just fold.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of the inverse of just pay. Right. It's like whenever we have him positioned to such a tight range, where a lot of it's concentrated to value, and then the rest of it is concentrated to equity. Your weakest hands they're out.
Right.
But you can't make the same mistake with queens. Queens just pays.
Right.
And that's really the conversation here, right? Is where's the line?
Right. You're saying like pay with the top of your range, but with jacks in this situation is not the top of your range. It's
Correct.
the bottom of your range.
Right.
And understanding the difference there is gonna, be very helpful.
Yeah. So analyzing this a little bit further, he is just going to play call here. We're going to see the 8 of diamond turn. And you can see that Donna nails this. She
Go Donna.
mostly plays check here. She gets to play a little bit of jams with kings and ace king. It's not high frequency, about 8% of the time. Kings just needs a little bit of protection. You can see it's kings with a diamond, basically giving itself backup. And then a lot of betting with the nuts, ace king of diamonds, a lot more betting without the nuts. So ace king, no front door, no back door. This is targeting all of his heart floats. You can see ace king of hearts almost never bets. That's the reason why. Aces still a get it now type of hand. It wants to go 2/3, basically creating a new 2E because we went too small on the flop. But yeah, jacks, pure check. Even with the diamond, just pure check. So she nailed that one. And that makes sense. Bottom of range, value or bluff, very likely to just start surrendering. We're going to use it to kind of protect our range. And now you can see that he's not really supposed to play any jams, right? He just plays 2E, basically with his entire betting range, which is about 67% pot. And, it comes from exactly where you would expect it to. It's a little bit of protection with queens and a diamond, but that mostly checks back as well. Instead, it starts with like kings with a diamond is pure, kings without a diamond, it's just a mix. Aces, same thing. And then pocket tens obviously rounds out value. And then like a hand like 10-9 suited. This is like, we were talking yesterday, it's kind of funny. I was talking to the class a little bit about the concept of merging and how it's kind of faded into a lack of existence. I was like, well, it actually kind of exists in solver land a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're asking for some examples. And I loosely gave one. And it was like reasonable. But this is kind of a decent example of how a merge exists where 10-9 suited pure bets. And what you'll see is when in position bets, jacks no diamond, pure fold. Right? So pure fold. So it's a situation where 10-9 suited is a bluff because it can get better to fold. But ace king, oh no, never mind. I take it all back. I was going to say, but there are combinations that call.
Right.
That are worse.
But not
like ace king with a diamond,
Yeah.
but they actually just jam.
Right.
So it's not a good example of a merge.
No.
I take it all back. But you see where I was going with it.
I
anyway.
do see where you were going. Yeah, there are definitely situations where you jam and you get worse to call and better to fold.
Yeah, usually it's river.
Yeah.
But anyway, we find ourselves in this scenario where if Matt were to bet, Donna actually makes an excellent fold. So when push comes to shove,
You mean if he jams?
it doesn't matter.
Or if he bets?
Doesn't
either
matter
way.
if he bets anything
On the turn.
on the turn.
Okay.
So
she's just check folding the turn with her exact holding.
pure check fold. It's bottom of
Yeah.
range. Ace 4, bottom of range. Like these hands just pure check fold. You have way better to utilize to defend. So for Donna, big thumbs up.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay. Nice job, Donna. Now let's look at it from Matt's perspective because he's a little bit in the muck here and he chooses a size that is not really a thing. So what we really want to analyze is, well, what happens if instead of 2E, we just offer an all-in as well? Is this ever used? It's a big shove. It's 167% pot. And we can see that it is utilized a very small frequency, and it comes from a very specific range. It comes from the nuts, ace king of diamonds. It comes from kings with a diamond, and then ace king off, lo and behold, with a diamond.
Heyo.
It actually does really like it with ace king, king of diamonds, specifically when the ace is a heart. Let's see. Not that it really matters, but let's see if he had that combo. 130 what? 3?
131.
he had ace of clubs, king of diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
So not quite the nut combo. You want the ace of hearts because of, I guess, backdoor blocking properties. Ace of clubs, king of diamonds, jams a smidge. A lot less, but a smidge. And then if we alter this even further to where he only plays jammer check, and there is no 2E strategy, what we'll see is the all-in frequency is going to increase some. So it just goes up with the ace-king spots. Ace-king with the ace of diamonds is almost pure. Ace-king, king of diamonds, ace of spades, king of diamonds, ace of hearts. Actually, all his combo now becomes a pure shove.
Mm-hmm.
If he's only playing shove or check, it actually
Right.
becomes a pure shove.
Yeah. So basically, it's like you're not supposed to be shoving here, but if you did choose to shove, you had the right combo to do it.
Yeah, we can look at the EV differentials. So jamming here is worth 20 big blinds with his exact combo, 20.84 big blinds.
Mm-hmm.
And if we change it back to 2E, 67. Let's see. His exact combo then becomes 15.4. So the EV of jamming his exact combo actually goes up.
Goes up. So jamming is better than 2E?
Well, not necessarily. We'd have to check the other hands.
Oh, okay.
So like, how do kings perform?
Right.
How do aces perform? Right?
Mhm.
Like, and it's also, it's difficult to see. So like, we can look at just the overall, right? So the overall EV of aces is 85. The overall EV of ace king off is 11.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you play the normal 2E strat, whenever you play the all-in strategy. So remember, it was 85 and 11. My guess is that aces will go down. Yeah, aces goes down to 78. Ace king off goes up to 12. So there's a very small exchange there where
Mhm.
aces kind of loses a significant amount of EV.
Right.
But ace king actually gains some EV. You're sacrificing a small amount over your overall strategy to simplify.
Mhm.
And this is very common in the way that we study. This is very common in practical usage over technical, theoretical execution.
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought was, a pretty big error there by Matt was, lo and behold, Wizard approved.
Hey, look at that.
Big shout out to the guys at GTO Wizard. We appreciate you guys for sponsoring the In the Muck segment. Couldn't do it without you.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys would like to submit your own In the Muck segment, head on over to our Discord channel. You can find the link at our Twitter page. It's the pinned comment at SolveForYTV. Not what you see on screen here. Or you could just hit hashtag Discord in the chat right next to you. That will take care of that. Really fun spot. Turned out, would have never guessed it, but it turned out that actually I was personally the one that was in the muck there.
Mm-hmm.
It happens from time to time. Every once in a while you get
This is why you need
you get one
GTO
wrong.
Wizard, because you are not the wizard, and for you to memorize every spot and every situation would be impossible.
That's true. That being said, exploitatively, I would have called her hand.
Yeah.
I would have just called her, and it's like, if you show me queens, Godspeed.
Right.
Like,
Right.
good for you, man. I'm proud of you, but I'm not buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Call me crazy. I just don't see it, man.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything but ace king here. And that's kind of like the crux of it all, is how often. It's really funny because it ends up being a strategy where it's the old man coffee strat, right? The hands that are supposed to jam, if you're playing a jam strat, are actually hands that you would never. Hey. Who's running this show?
Yep.
God damn it.
You are wrong, sir.
Jesus. But yeah, it's like if you are playing a jam there, you're actually supposed to jam aces and kings, which feel very non-intuitive, right? Those hands feel like they can be quite greedy and go for the smaller sizing over two streets, things of that nature. It actually is funny to see how live ranges can actually come to fruition in certain spots, because what it's proving is that your observation of live environments is true. People are too tight. More specifically, the range narrows too fast. And then you create scenarios like this where it's just the top versus the top. So the presumption of why we don't pay live is actually kind of accurate, right? And it actually is true that there will be plenty of hands that feel very top of range, but if you take the time to actually analyze how we got here and everything else, it might be a lot closer to the bottom and be forced to kind of like check, give up. That said, there's another way to play this game, right? And that's, I guess, what I've been advocating for is you get to just pay if you're the one who's aggressively putting money into the pot. So if their range is going to over narrow, let it. Make money off of it. Print early, you know? And then maybe let off the gas later on in hands, but not to the degree where you're afraid to go for thin value. Like, get yourself value cut from time to time, you know?
Yeah.
Make a hero call with the second nuts.
Right. Don't fold quads, as we learned yesterday.
Bro.
Man.
Poor Jonah.
Jonah in the well?
Jonas. Yeah. Goddamn, man. I had the reference. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I had the reference. I knew I had the reference. I knew I wasn't losing my mind.
Yeah, but you were kind of conflating.
Per usual, I was a little bit off. I was one letter off.
Right.
And that was just enough to monkey wrench the whole reference.
You were confusing two books, the Bible and
I actually
Dick.
It's funny you say that. Like, I initially thought it was a biblical story.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, no, I think I'm confusing it with Moby Dick. Because
whales,
what does Moby Dick have to do with the Bible?
Yeah.
You know? And we're talking white whales here.
Yeah. I mean, you're always on the hunt for whales, so.
God bless the whales, man. God bless the whales. All right, let's get out of here with a quick little visit to the Reddit.
Let's do it.
The Reddit, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is all news to me. I haven't had a chance to really look this over too much yet. Let's see. Let me pull up the window.
Okay.
Which one do you want to start? Let's go with. Let's do.
Upstuck.
Don't be an asshat.
Asshat. Okay.
Let's
that one's good. Yeah.
Let's not be asshats. We'll end on this one.
Okay.
Okay. So he says, please don't be an asshat to obviously new players. I was playing some 1-3 last night down at the Jewel. When some wide-eyed
at the Jewel. Okay.
By the way, this is just going to lead
There's
to
$5 in there, not $4.
This is going to lead to me going on like some random 5-minute rant to end the show because I already love the first line.
Yes.
Some wide-eyed 20-something comes up to the table with a stack of red. If that wasn't enough to indicate he was new, his complete lack of knowledge of the betting line, blind structure, when it was his turn to act, etc., sure gave it away. After basically showing no aggression, limp folding some hands, limp calling some hands, and then folding on the flop, his stack whittled down to about 70 in only 15 minutes or so. Oh, I take it all back. It sounds like he's sympathizing with this young man.
Yes.
And then it gets down to him in the small blind and some mog. What's a mog?
I don't know.
Come on, bro. You're the zoomer here.
I'm the zoomer?
Yeah.
I mean, just because Landon's not here, I have to play his role.
I mean, someone's got to do it. Google mog.
Mog. All right.
Google mog. Somebody tell me what a mog is. This is my job. I'm supposed to be Googling.
Yeah.
How do you spell mog.
That?
Huh?
How do you spell
M-A-W-G.
M-A-W-G.
In the big blind, and you can probably already guess what happened. Big blind asked to chop. The new player looked clueless and called the $3. Big blind asks again, this time more forcefully. Dealer explains what chopping is to the new player. New player says, no, let's play. Big blind, visually disgusted,
Scrawny
checks.
Or skinny?
That's it. It just means
maybe that's not the right meaning. Maybe it's from something else.
I feel like it's got to be an acronym.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Let's see. It checks all the way to the river. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Urban Dictionary here.
Yeah. It checks all the way to the river. Small blind bets $5. Big blind folds 9-3 off face up. It says, you really want my $3 that bad, you can have it. A few other shit regs chime in. All right, he watches the show for sure. Shout out to Easy69. He's definitely a viewer. A few more shit regs chime in, more politely, albeit.
Sorry. There was a typo in my. I had some Jamaican word, maga or whatever. Okay. Mog is a middle-aged white guy.
Oh, okay. That's why you should have known what a mog was.
Of course.
You are a mog.
Oh, what are you?
I'm hip.
Yeah, you're hip. You're hip.
Good evening, fellow students. All right. Let's see. A few other shit regs chime in more politely, albeit, and tell the new player that you're supposed to chop when it gets to the blinds. It just wastes time. Only play if you have a bad beat hand. All the typical bullshit. And it's all going straight over the new player's head. His first pot won in a live poker. It will go down in his memory as getting scolded by other players. I speak up to try to make light of the situation. I told the new player that there's no rule saying you have to chop. You can play if you want to. He's just mad that you took his $3, to which the Mog immediately retorts that he doesn't care about the $3, and it's the principle.
Oh, God.
It's the principle of the matter, Lamanna.
Principle.
How's often does this happen?
Yeah, it always happens.
Yeah?
Yeah, it happens, and it's just so dumb. It's like, yes, listen, when you see, I wholeheartedly agree. Don't be an asshat. Like you see a new player, they're obviously new, right? You want to make their experience as fun and relaxing and enjoyable as possible. You want them to return. You want the game to grow. You want poker. You want anybody that's going to try poker or like step into the arena. Listen, it's not easy never playing. And then all of a sudden, it's intimidating. Walk up. You got to like, how do I get on the list? Where do I sit down? When do I post the blinds? When do I do all these things, right? The first few times you do it, it's kind of intimidating. So if you see somebody that's there and, they're obviously newbie, don't be an asshat. Be nice to them. Help them out, right? Make their experience enjoyable. That way they want to come back.
Bro, my first time playing live poker, like not in a home game setting, like 25 cent, 50 cent. We went to Turning Stone. We went to Silver Creek, rather.
Silver Creek, yeah.
It was 3-6 limit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never played a limit game before in my life.
Right.
I didn't know how to post, but I was tremoring, shaking with fear. And I had probably played like dozens of hours of home games, if not hundreds at that point.
Yeah.
I was absolutely trembling. Didn't know what was going on. I had $20 in front of me.
It's so different than a home game. It's just so different because, like, when you're in a home game, you're used to like just, everyone, you're all your buddies and you're all doing the exact same thing. Here, it's
kind of police each other.
Right. There's a professional dealer. There's floor. There's everybody else that's been there for years on end, right? They all know exactly what they're doing. They're shuffling their chips. And
the dealer was like the most intimidating factor of it all because I felt like I was in some sort of restricted environment where I was going to get scolded for not knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
Table games. I've played like almost zero table games in my life. And to this day, I still have angst about like walking up to a table.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get scolded for using my, like most people just go drunk.
Right.
And they just like, whatever, man. Like you tell me when I've become too much.
Yeah.
And like, I'm there as a rule abiding citizen where it's just like, I don't want to get yelled at. I just don't want to get yelled at. Like I'm too grown to get yelled at. Please don't yell at me.
Yeah.
I
don't
want
pick the cards. Don't pick the cards up off the table.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
do
like
that.
it's a whole bunch of and it's just a miserable experience. And I remember feeling that anxiety whenever like I first sat down at this 3-6 table. Luckily, like you and Greg were there also, and you guys seemed very comfortable. But like the dealer was
I had already been to Atlantic City and played some 3-6. So
look at you.
Fucking
Bro, I still don't know what the blinds are in limit games. I truly don't know. I'm 20 years in. What are the blinds for 3-6 limit?
Well, it's not 3-6.
No.
So it's 3 is the big blind for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the small blind is. 1 or 2.
1 or 2? I don't know, but like I didn't know that. I was probably putting out $1 or $6. Who fucking knows? I just know that like the dealer was putting my blinds out for me. Like I was a lost cause. Somehow I booked a win.
Of course.
Because luck has always been kind to me. It reminds me of another story. Do you remember the time we went to Turning Stone together? First of all, for you young up-and-comers, you guys have no idea what you missed out on in the early 2000s at Turning Stone. We were all online rich, way too much fucking money for our age. We were like, and for what it's worth, all you young kids now listening, you probably can relate because some of you are just online rich. But we had like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a room at Turning Stone was $99 a night.
Yeah.
Free 99.
$99.
You got a refrigerator in there. You got a what are they called? The bars that you
mini bars.
They had mini bars in there, but it was a dry casino, so there was no alcohol, which for whatever reason meant the mini bar was not marked up very expensively.
Right.
Like M&Ms were only $2.
Wow.
I mean, they were giving it away. So we went there for one of their Empire State Series or whatever, and I had a miserable trip. I played cash all night, every night, and then jumped right into the tournaments on no sleep. I ended up losing like $4K, and we're walking out, and I was not rich at the time. I did not have online money.
Right.
I just was a degenerate. I might have had like maybe 20K to my name at that point, and I just lost 4 of it. So, 20% of my bankroll.
Right.
We were walking out, and I never in my life played a pit game before, ever. We walk past the roulette table, and I go, Lamanna, I'm putting it all on black. And he goes, don't do it.
I'm like, please
and I go,
don't.
I'm putting it all on black. And I go to put 4K on black, and they go to 2K max. I go, okay. Oh, Lamanna, put 2K on black.
Yeah.
And
Just like, oh, God.
do you remember trying to talk me out of this?
Yes, I do. Like, I'm just like, why? What are you doing? Like, you'll get this money back playing poker, not just taking a shot. Why do you want to, like, double your losses in 1 second?
Do you remember what happened next?
I believe... Well, why don't you tell it?
Okay. So I wasn't sure if he'd remember this detail or not. So I put 4K on black and $100 on 11 because that was my number.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
They go to spin the ball, and it flies out of the roulette wheel.
That's right.
And Lamanna starts freaking out. He goes, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Take your money back. And I go, let it ride. So they spin it again, and I'm sweating because now if I lose, half of my bankroll is disappeared, and it's going around in circles. And at that point, it dawned on me what a fucking idiot
What a
I was.
dumbass idea this
Like,
was.
what an idiot
Just
I
listen to
had
the
to
tortoise.
be to totally just like be out of control now, where this $4,000 is no longer mine.
Nope.
And I have no impact on the outcome.
Yep.
So
The
what do I do?
universe is now in control.
Yeah, the universe is in control, and so I clasp my hands together and pray. And sure as shit, it lands on black 11.
Unbelievable.
I walked out of there, goddamn winner.
You did.
And
So
I-
happy on the way home.
I was thrilled. It's a long drive. I didn't play roulette again until. Do you remember when I got your dad all those Valley points?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. My dad, he was so happy. You're like, oh, just put your card in. Yeah, give him your card, and you put the bet down. My dad's like, I went straight to platinum.
Yeah. So I put 5K on black. Well, actually, I didn't even put it on black. I'll never forget this. Brian's parents were in town.
No, that's
we
right.
We were at Bally's, and I go, I'm going to make a big bet.
Right.
And I'm going to put
This was the thing. You would make one big, ridiculously degenerate bet a year.
Yeah.
Right. And this was the time to do it.
And you know what? It's funny. I won when I needed it the most in Turning Stone.
Yep.
And when I did it at Bally's, I just it was like around 2010, right after the World Series or whatever.
You were flush. You
I
didn't
was
need it.
super flush.
Yeah, it didn't-
the
didn't
5K
need it.
didn't matter at
Yeah.
all.
So you were drawing dead.
So I go, Mama Lamanna, black or red? And she goes,
Red's
I
my
don't
favorite
want
color.
that responsibility.
Yeah, right.
No, no.
Yeah.
And I go, black or red? And like I twist her arm, and very uncertainly she goes, red.
She's like, red's my favorite color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, well, I would have went black, but okay, let's go red. So I give her the money, and I tell her to put it on red, and it comes up black. And I think to this day, she still has some level of guilt over this.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
So maybe we hit a little bit of a tangent there to end. I apologize if that didn't have anything to do with being an asshat to new players.
Listen,
but
just be nice to new players.
be
That's
nice to new players. Help them out a little bit. You know, we all started once before. And if you're a new player and you would like to get a little bit better at the game, we have a free series. That Academy footage that you just witnessed, you can watch that for nothing.
Free.
Absolutely free 99. Just head to Academy. No, that's a lie. Head to solveforwhy.io. If you want to come to the academy, then head to academy.software.io.
That's right. We got one coming up in March.
That's right. We do. March 13th?
18th to the 20th.
18th to the 20th. I'll be there on the 13th. No big deal.
Just waiting for people to come in.
Yep. You guys show or don't. I don't care. All right. That's going to do it for us. I am headed to Arizona to get my passport. I'm headed to Montreal in 2 weeks. So if you guys are in the playground area, be sure to swing by January 31st. I believe that's the date of the meetup game. I'll confirm for sure for you guys next week. We'll have a whole week of plugging the events up there and all the things that myself, Schwan, and others will be getting into. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all Monday.
Peace.